We're going to get started. Thanks everybody so much for being here. My name is Natalie. I'm the Event and Promotion Coordinator for the Downtown Bellingham Partnership. Really appreciate you all joining us. This is our first ever social media marketing training for businesses, and so we're really excited to be here. Jalen Kaplan and Emily Trickey are going to be your discussion leaders today. They can introduce themselves and tell you about the services that they have, but they have a wealth of knowledge to share, and so excited to be here. We're going to have 30 minutes at the end for like more one-on-one question answer and just time to chat and get to know each other more. So feel free to stay for that. Again, we're going to be doing bar service, so feel free to go order and they'll bring it out if you want. Yeah, otherwise we'll get started. Thanks for being here. I also have 2 handouts. If you haven't gotten them yet, let me know and I'll pass them around. Yeah, we'll be done with this.
Cool. Well, thank you all for being here. We have a good group. It's going to be fun. So welcome to Leveling Up Your Social Strategy. I'm Emily Trickey, the co-founder of Brilliant Marketing, and this is Raylan Kaplan, digital strategist of Shine Bright Online. So let's see. So what we're going to talk about and learn today is the purpose of social media, how to create a customer persona. So hopefully at last week's workshop, Natalie talked about a persona. So we have that again today for those of you who weren't there. Also, when you leave this workshop, we're hoping that you know how to build a really awesome social system that works for you. And also we're going to go through how to understand your analytics and access that through the business suite, Meta Business Suite. And then thinking about just some fresh content ideas using content pillars if you're not already using that. And in October, we're going to be diving more into content pillars and content creation in October. So you can come back next month. And then we're just going to end with a bunch of our awesome, helpful tips and tricks and tools that we find helpful. So if you have questions along the way, ask. We're also going to leave time at the end as well. So we're excited that you're all here. So just a little bit about me. I'm Emily Trickey. I live here in Bellingham. My business is Brilliant Marketing. We are a branding and marketing agency for brands who are reimagining the world. And so just a little bit about me. I grew up in Alaska. While I was there, I worked at the Anchorage Downtown Partnership, which is very similar to what Natalie does. I was the marketing director there. So I got a lot of experience working at nonprofits and in-house. And then when I moved to Seattle about 10 years ago, I was there for 8 years and worked at a couple of big agencies there and got a lot of experience working on big corporate brands and campaigns. And one of the things that I really learned was that it's really important to have a strong brand and a brand foundation and a brand story, even before you're going to invest in different marketing, making sure those foundational marketing components are in place. And so about 5 years ago, I knew I always wanted to start my own business. And so I got the opportunity to start one actually with my sister and my business partner. She's in Hawaii and I'm here, so we're remote, but we're based here in Bellingham. And so some of our services are just around that branding and that messaging and storytelling, and then social and marketing strategy, content marketing, and website design and development. So I'm excited to be here, share my knowledge, learn who you are and your businesses. And yeah, so I'll let Raylan introduce herself.
Thanks, Emily. Hi, I'm Ray. I run Shine Bright Online, a boutique agency here in town. When the pandemic started, I was studying at Western. I took a break and ventured onto TikTok, where my platform as an advocate kind of exploded. And my videos were reaching millions of people and getting in the news and on TV. And I decided I wanted to start helping other leaders, brands, and businesses generate their own social PR, because we are living in the attention economy. So I went back to Western and I'm now finishing my degree called Influencing Social Change Through Digital Marketing. I worked as the director of marketing design at Remax Rockland County and have also contracted with some local agencies here. Whether it's like content creation or building websites or developing digital business plans, I just really enjoy storytelling, bringing out the heart of who you are, and elevating online influence really happy you're all here. I hope you learned something today, and it's great to see you all.
Cool. So now we'd love to just know who you all are. So why don't we just go around the room and you can just say your name and maybe your title and the business or the company you have or that you're representing. So why don't we start over here?
I'm Kate, and Blair and I are together. We're here with the Horseshoe Cafe.
Okay, cool. Nice.
Blair.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Katie, I'm here with Plastic Pub.
I'm Nadia. I'm a freelance web designer. I have my own company, Reset Web Design, local, and I'm a social media manager for a Horseshoe company in Redlands, California.
Cool. Welcome.
I'm Tessa, and I'm general manager at Time Materials.
Okay.
Tracy Jones, vocalist, sax player for Cascade with Group.
Nice.
Nancy Kelly, I work at Cool Chocolate, I'm the project and marketing manager there.
In here.
Kristen. I'm refreshed, go.
I'm Derek, I'm the assistant manager for Planet Bellingham.
I'm Melanie, I just got hired at Peak Hydration, I assist the nurse there. All kinds of stuff.
Like social media, maybe? Welcome.
I'm Corey, I'm Ritual Records.
I'm Pam, I just do admin, including social media at
I'm Shelby, I'm the general manager at El Capitans. I'm Sandra, I'm program manager at Eleanor Academy.
I'm Karen and I wear a couple of hats. I'm a dog trainer that owns a business, but also I am the director of community outreach for KMRE. And so a couple of different things, and we're gonna do a talk show about dogs.
My name's Shannon, I'm the marketing, regional marketing lead for Chiba Hut. I'm a craft barista for Festival Espresso at Farmers Market. I also am representing Maker's Mark and other alcohol brands at the Silver Casino. And I have 3 teenagers.
You are busy. Well, it's so nice to know your name and who you're here with. And so it's really great. So just a couple of quick reminders, this is an interactive session. So I see some people brought laptops, which is great. If you don't have a laptop, you can take notes. We're also going to share this presentation afterwards. So if you do have your laptop, feel free to log in to your social media, and we'll be going through those analytics really shortly. And then just have fun and be curious and ask questions. So let's just start kind of with like the baseline of when you're thinking about your social media strategy and the purpose of social. So really thinking about what are your goals. So and tying them back to your business goals. So social media, when you think about social media, it's really part of your broader marketing strategy. It doesn't just live on its own, it needs to directly tie back. So for an example, brilliant marketing, our social media strategy and it's tying back to our goals is really helping to increase our awareness and our reach. We're trying to reach other business owners and marketers through our social channels by really sharing helpful, engaging content that addresses their pain points and their problems around marketing. So if you haven't thought about what your social goals are, that's definitely the first step. One reminder is that social media is not sales. So you still need sales, your sales team or your sales strategy. It can help support it, but it's not sales. And so it's when you think about the sales funnel, maybe you've seen this graphic. It's awareness, consideration, purchase, retention, and advocacy are the 5 steps in the sales funnel. There's different sales funnels out there, but this is the one that we use. So social media is great for the top of the funnel, the awareness and the consideration. Purchase is really where the sale comes in. And then retention is how do you retain your clients or your customers, and advocacy is how do you continue to have brand advocates, build brand advocates. So when you're thinking about social media, it's really that top of the funnel. How are people becoming aware of you? How are they engaging and considering you giving their time, their money to you versus someone else out there. So, that's just, you know, when you're thinking about your strategy and setting up your social, like zoom back and start thinking about those things. And then the second thing is really understanding and knowing your audience. So social media works really well for a specific audience. So we're going to do a little exercise here with some of the handouts. So just thinking about like, who is your ideal customer on social media? What are their problems? What are their pain points? What channels are they on? What's the best way to reach them? What kind of content would be engaging for them? So what I'd love for you all to do is you have the handout, and some of you were here last week with Natalie and we did this exercise. So maybe you can refine it even more. If you don't have the handout, maybe Natalie can do that. But I'd love for you to use this Mad Lib style and just fill in who your ideal customer is. And most likely a lot of you are going to have multiple different types of customers, but just focus on your top priority customer, your ideal customer that you want. Oh, I need to think of seats. Yeah. So we'll just give you a couple minutes to do this. Feel free to ask questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did this last time. And I then afterwards. So
Different.
it's like because of what I thought. For Instagram, totally on.
Okay.
Facebook was off. On Facebook, interesting. It's really interesting.
And who's your ideal customer?
Well, I got it. Probably me.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we got something to think about in terms of the content and its strategy. Sure. We need the older on there. Like, Paul, just get ready. Facebook loves you, and we're gonna plaster you all over. It's gonna be the Paul show.
Well, did you feel, because I know you said you can have two different audiences, two different marketers. The consumer, but then there's kind of the business.
Yeah.
So you could think about, you could fill out a person first and do the other, you could fill out for your B2B person. And thinking about that, especially for LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right, how's everyone doing? Need a few more minutes? Okay. Yeah, once you have the first page filled out, then you can start kind of flipping it over to the back page. And really trying to make a name for your customer. And filling in the information from the front to the back. I think the biggest thing in the persona is what's the best way to reach them? What channel you think is the best way to reach this person?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How do you narrow it down when your business has so many target markets? Like at plastic, there's like the like main thing, the sprinkles going to have fun, but it's like Wednesdays run markets, it's like all spaces. We have parties that we do since we want like these soccer teams or birthday parties for people like that. Yeah, it's the families that come in or the people that want to come in at night, but it's how do you pick those profiles or like that's marketed? Because there's so many. There's so many. Yeah.
Totally. And I think that's where you can kind of like narrow in on like the certain days or focus on certain things.
Right.
But I would think about it in terms of your strategy,
Right.
who do you want to? If you could choose out of all those
Mhm.
customers,
Yeah.
and if you had $100, like who would you use, what would you use $100 to, who would you try to get
Right.
more of?
Probably more like families or like middle aged kids, like our owners like, let's get the college kids down there. I'm like, yeah, but college kids are broke. They're not gonna spend anything. They're not gonna spend anything. The answer is focus, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
They don't spend anything when they come in.
And so they're awful.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. So then that, I think that
Yeah.
would be focusing on that.
because right now I feel like I'm kind of focusing on digital media and trying to get all of our offerings like
Yeah.
out there, but not too many at the same time or so well.
Totally.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but I think, you know,
Yeah.
maybe focusing on that. Instead of doing ways.
Right, or like what we really want to get.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
like the name, where do you want to grow your business?
Exactly.
You want to, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's how I would think about it.
Right. Like all the pillars and stuff, they make it look busy.
Yeah,
When
But
people
not
are
spending money.
It's gonna get like 1 or 2 beers.
right.
Whereas like a family, 5 of them might go and they'll get pizza and they'll get drinks.
Yeah.
And hang out for a long time, so.
Totally.
Kind of depends.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
How on that?
Online
I do that, but it's more, like, do they buy online? Do they come in store? Like, you know, that type of thing. So I'll just give you, I think we're gonna, this is something you can continue to work on. As we think about, content and that type of thing, I'm gonna move us on and we can come back to it. I'm gonna hand it off to Raylan.
Okay, so we're about to start a little workshop time and we're gonna be looking at our social media analytics and understanding how to use them to continuously improve our content. So before we actually look at the analytics, I wanted to just provide a framework that I use in my own social media strategy. And this just enables me to continuously improve the content I'm putting out. So if you look at this loop, it's called the validated learning loop, and it comes from the lean startup method, which is a methodology that was coined by a Silicon Valley entrepreneur named Eric Ries. And his idea is pretty simple, which is that you have a minimal viable product, and then you measure how it does with your customers, collect data, and use that information to then create the next iteration of the thing and repeat the process. So you're just constantly experimenting and iterating. So if you put this in the context of your social media, your minimal viable product is your content. So every time you post, you can think about it like an experiment, and you're measuring it on your audience, and the data that you get comes from your analytics, which we're about to look at. And then you're going to be able to learn from those analytics and keep creating better content. So this loop is a really great, simple system that you can use in your social media strategy. For our audit example, we're going to be using the Downtown Bellingham Partnerships page. Thank you, Natalie, for letting us access this today. And we're going to be going into Meta Business Suite. So Meta Business Suite connects to both Facebook and Instagram. And when we go, this is just an example of what we'll walk through with your accounts as well. But this is what the partnerships Meta Business Suite looks like. So if you go to the left-hand tab, there's a lot of options. We went to content and overview. And what I like to look at are the top performing posts, because you can see what's doing best here. And then eventually we'll look for patterns and identify what makes that content do as well as it does. And then up above, you can see the types of content that have been put out, mostly images, some videos. And then on the left, if you go to the calendar icon, you can also see your content laid out in this format. So you can actually filter what kind of posts and on what platform you want to look at. So here we've selected all Instagram posts over the past 28 days. And this post that's highlighted is the post that's gotten the most reach. The way the numbers are laid out here, it's interesting because you can see that while this post reached 6,000 people, it got less likes than a post that only reached, not only, but that reached 5,000 people. So these are the kinds of numbers you can see here. And then on Meta Business Suite, you can also access your content planner. So we'll talk a little bit more about different scheduling tools. They're super helpful and there's a lot of them. This is just one, but this is a content calendar where you can schedule content and also see all the posts that you've previously made. So we're about to spend 5 to 10 minutes pulling up your own social media analytics. If you need a hand with that, we can come around. But as you look at your analytics, these are some things to think about. What are the 3 highest and lowest performing posts that you've made in the past month or a period of time? And then within those posts, what are the recurring themes or patterns? So for instance, what type of post is it? Is it a photo or a video? What time did you post at? What's the quality of the content? Like, is it with products? Is it with people? And then thinking more big picture, after you identify these highest performing pieces of content, how can you make more of this? So go to Meta Business Suite. If you need the URL, it should be business.facebook.com. And if you need help getting into it or navigating, just raise your hand and we'll come help you.
Yeah, I can pull this up too.
Yeah.
I have a little. Sometimes I'll just continue on it.
I would continue it just so later Instagram.
Were you all able to access it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, cool.
It
Yep,
has the
there's your-
same preview.
Yep.
Okay. Where do you find the calendar? I'm sorry, it was like.
Yeah, so you go to content here.
Okay.
If you go like to your browser, crazy.
And then this is all of your content, and you can see these analytics where you can go over. So you're
Oh, okay, got
over. For some reason, it's not.
On business.
It doesn't say.
So I
It
guess
doesn't
bring it
have
up
reach.
and figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
weird.
no.
They just.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Baby story.
Yeah,
It's not gonna do
yeah.
it.
So it looks like your post accounts reach, yeah, and you can change the, yeah, you can change that. There,
Cool, there we go. So
there,
this is what
so
we're.
now you can see, yeah, like which post had the biggest reach, which post had the best like interactions. And so those are ones that you can
Whoops. Awesome.
think about, like, okay, like what's interesting about this, or is it surprising, or is it not surprising?
Were you all able to get in?
Yes.
You're all.
Yeah.
These are. Yeah, maybe I need to prioritize people that.
So that was and then those months will be update. You can also see our stands like, last 7 days, last 2.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of gatherings with these abilities.
So now my kids were.
Content. That's great. Oh, yeah. So the years, you know, everybody's book, what did better on so now you're seeing reach and other people that saw your photos and then like some reactions. For those people like it. Yeah, definitely. Then you should over to the right of the. You can see the comments and share like that. So. All right, I need to check everything else. And. I would just media maybe, but. More interested in shares and you weren't like. Yeah, or something like that. So you can think about that, but. Yeah, so.
Which was the one that.
So just.
I'm really not using it.
And then you need to share and see, so like. Yeah. You can also. Okay. Signed it with Instagram. Yeah. Anything that I know we just need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good story. Was very popular. Yeah. So then you're not receiving filtered by. Stories. So I was like, what are your thoughts? So this is what I have that big outreach. We're going to have the top there for that you can work on Facebook or Instagram. And then you can also see the arrows next to it. Yeah. You know, filter that by like top performing and lows. You're still. Yeah, so then the most important. And then I would like your eyes. Yeah. We're like 34. Yeah, that's something like that. Frequently that on our downtown community or post that has the most weight didn't have as many likes. No. As the I'm not honestly. But it depends on what you know about. And yeah, yes, and then you so like I feel like our family that was like anything
Oh, you have to.
I think that's like to go through that was a little bit better.
I need to post like pictures of the pub, and they in the pub. They like know us. They was ready to get the shots whenever. Happy hour, like food future. They go nice. Like totally. Like they buy us like
yeah.
And the last like what we all they also like
And then
I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna shoot it now, but. And stuff. Okay, so
all your posts.
Yeah, it's probably.
And then, yeah, always.
We'll show that I was on your niece, how many artists on the house,
To kind of get a well-rounded. Right. You would have. You're talking about. Yeah. Yeah, like you are posting around.
Yeah, they're
just doing media. Yeah. Yeah.
Now you never mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like, okay.
Figure out how to run
Yeah,
it.
there is like one course content that. Around it. People tell that those we offer.
Yeah, that's like, I can't dispose of their offerings, but get overwhelmed, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I feel like you should.
All right, we're gonna keep moving along. Would anybody like to share
Totally.
what they noticed?
And that second one we just looked at, I take 2 businesses. So that was from my business.
Yeah,
So it wasn't an actual collaboration, but I mentioned them, so other people probably from their business looked at it. Yes.
that's great. Anyone else?
I feel like I kind of noticed the same thing, like when we did events with other businesses, those people from that.
Yeah.
Knew that who was probably sharing it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I have a question too. Has anybody noticed if you did a collaboration with somebody, if that increased it, or if it was, or just tagging increased it?
I worked with structures and we did a beer together and every post about that,
You did collaboration.
yeah, and that increased things a lot. And then X Tattoos last weekend just did their big Planned Parenthood fundraiser and we were involved with that. And I'm not seeing it, this seems to be a little bit more Facebook driven, but our Instagram followers shot up because they kept tagging us. And we were
Okay.
involved with it. We probably gained 100 followers on the weekend.
That's awesome. It's a cool idea. by the way.
That,
Too.
that was their second year doing it, they raised
Yeah.
over $20,000.
Yeah, that was
Great.
Yeah, this was a long time. I was thinking about doing it, I'm like, oh my gosh, the lights all the way around.
There was people there at 7:30.
That's not gonna happen.
So now we're gonna talk a little bit about what we should be posting to promote our businesses. It's a pretty common question. And the beauty of diversifying the types of content you post is that when you're using something like the validated learning loop, you want to have a lot of different experiments because the more iterations you have, the more information you can gather and figure out what people are responding best to. So every different type of content engages with your audience in a different way and ultimately serves a different purpose depending on your goals. So that's part of why, like Emily was saying, identifying your goals is really important. So here are different types of content and their benefits. Reels and TikToks are all the rage right now. They are short form video content, usually sub 60-second, often sub 30-second videos. I've heard that the ideal TikTok Reels length is 5 to 15 seconds. And that makes sense because right now the average human attention span is reportedly shorter than a goldfish, which is sub 7 seconds. So that's kind of scary, but you can take advantage of that. Reels are great for like behind the scenes, sharing tips, joining viral trends, and just entertaining your audience in a visually appealing way. I think younger audiences are also really resonating with this short form video content right now because there was like this era of Instagram that felt very manicured and filtered, and video content is kind of the opposite in that it's authentic in a different way. So a lot of people who are leveraging that are finding a lot of success. Then we have carousel posts. Carousels are the photos where you swipe through multiple at a time. And these are great for delivering more in-depth content. Let's say you have a guide or an infographic, you want to tell a story or get educational. Carousels are also really good for your business in the algorithm because the platforms will reward you for keeping people engaged for longer. So if someone has to take the time on your post to swipe through and they do it, then the platform thinks your content is good and will boost it in the algorithm for more people to see.
How many, when you do a carousel, how many would you do?
You can do up to 10. Yeah. Then we have the traditional Instagram single photo, which is really great for just kind of a direct piece of communication. Let's say you have an announcement, if you run a place that's hiring, you want to ask a question, or you just don't have that many creative ideas in a given day, but you still want to post something, this is a great option. We also have stories. Stories disappear after 24 hours. They're pretty engaging and offer a really good interactive format. So you can share like in the moment updates, limited time offers. You can reshare user generated content. So let's say another business tags you in their story. You want to put that back on your story. You can post polls and quizzes and just give like little peeks into the day-to-day that you might not want on your feed forever. And Emily's going to talk about content pillars now. Sorry.
Great. Okay, so now that you kind of have some tips that Raylan shared with you about the different types of content to use on Instagram and Facebook, let's talk a little bit about what are you actually going to post and how are you going to make sure that it's really cohesive. And so that's where content pillars come into play. So these are the themes that you write about, that all your content is created about. Show of hands, does anyone have content pillars?
Amazing.
You probably have them, they're all probably just subconscious. So what's nice is just getting them down on paper, and that helps get you and your team aligned on the content that you're creating. And so you should really strive for about 3 to 4 content pillars. And this helps to ensure that you have like consistency, there's relevance and engagement across all of your platforms. And so what are content pillars? You can see by these concentric circles in the middle is the content pillar. So it's really, first of all, your customers' needs. So thinking back to the persona that you created, what are some of their pain points? What are they wanting? How can you help provide content and fill that customer need? And then second, what service do you provide? And then third is, what is your brand and what makes you different than anyone else out there? Why should they choose your business over someone else's? And so the overlapping of those 3 things is where your content pillar sits. And so it's kind of abstract, but to give you some examples, examples always help me, is for brilliant marketing, our 3 content pillars are, the first one is marketing tips and tricks, because our target audience are marketers, business owners who are in charge of their social media, in charge of their marketing. And so we want to provide useful content to help solve their problem, make their job easier. And so that's one of our first content pillars, providing marketing tips and tricks. The second content pillar is we share content around mindfulness and a conscious marketing approach. So what makes us different at Brilliant Marketing is we like to bring mindfulness and a conscious marketing approach, which means bringing in research and insights and being really intentional with the strategies that we're recommending, and ensuring what we do is rooted in research and in insights. And so we share content around that, maybe even bringing in a Mindful Minute Monday where we lead a little guided meditation, or we share different things around that. And then the third content pillar is a brilliant marketing adventure. So this is where kind of our lifestyle comes in. Michaela and I are sisters. We love to travel. We love the outdoors. So this is really kind of our fun pillar, where we bring in when we're on a business retreat, or we're meeting with clients, or different things like that. So you can kind of see, this is part of our Instagram grid here, how those different content pillars resonate and show up on our Instagram feed. Are there any questions around content pillars? We're going to be doing October's workshop, is we're going to be spending time on doing that and brainstorming content around that. So come back for that one. But if you don't have content pillars already, I encourage you between now and the next time you start posting is maybe trying just defining those content pillars a little bit more.
I do have a question. Do
Yeah.
you have a just recommended number?
Yeah, I'd say like between 3 to 4 content pillars.
Okay.
All right, now we're gonna have some tips and tricks, some of our favorite little nuggets that we're gonna share.
Great, so a common question I hear is, what is the best day and time to post? And that totally depends on what your business is and who your audience is. So you probably like don't want to post at 2 a.m. unless you're a nightclub and that's when all your people are out or something like that. So it's a very independent answer, but here are some links in the presentation that we'll send out to you later so you can explore that for yourself. And then in terms of best practices for all posts, hashtags, personally, I think is something that no one has actually cracked the code on, but I do have some insights. I make about 100 pieces of content a week, and what I found works best is a combination of broad and hyper local. So let's say you're a coffee shop, it'd be like hashtag whatever the coffee drink is, hashtag Bellingham, Washington. So that way you can like potentially reach people who love coffee and also people who love coffee in Bellingham. Always add your location. So if you're posting a picture at your business or at someone else's business or whatever, you want to make that searchable. And then you'll always show up with your post in that location on Instagram or Facebook. So that can increase your reach. And then asking users to comment is something that's great for engagement. And that kind of goes back to the art of storytelling. When you're writing a caption, you want to engage people, you want to make them feel something, you want to inspire them to have a conversation with you as a two-way street. And so asking users to comment is a great way to do that. You also want to tag users that appear in your photos, especially when it's other businesses, like the example you gave, that tends to work really well. And then the last tip is that you can use story highlights. So if you've been posting stories, yes, they go away after 24 hours, but they're saved in an archive. So when you go to your profile, you can create a highlight reel. So if you're a bar and you have seasonal drinks, you can create a highlight reel of those seasonal drinks. And then food or whatever the different categories that you're offering are, you can highlight those on your profile. So they'll stick around even after your stories are gone.
All right, so one thing that we heard from you all when we were looking at creating these workshops, when Natalie and I were talking about these workshops, is we surveyed some of you to ask, what are ways that we can help? And so one of the questions was, how can you all collaborate with other businesses? What are ways that you could potentially collaborate? And so I want you to think about your target market, your target audience. What are other businesses where that target audience maybe overlaps? What are other businesses that have similar target audiences? What are other businesses that maybe have different target audience, but you're trying to potentially reach that target audience and you don't currently? So those are kind of some ways to kind of start thinking about that, start making a list of who those businesses could be, and then partner with them, reach out. Maybe even in this room right here, right? There's 15, 16 of you. You're all interested in social media and growing your business. So how could you collaborate with other people in the room? Coming up with promotions or a giveaway or whatever it is, something cool. And then you can use that collaborator function, as someone was mentioning before, and how that really helped your business gaining 100 new followers just in a weekend. So that's something you can think about. When Raylan and I were putting together this presentation, this workshop, we were talking, just brainstorming some ideas, and we thought about, well, could there be an influencer campaign that a couple of the downtown businesses go in together, get an influencer to come downtown and review the different businesses? Could you offer them some meal comps or discounts, and then they're able to post on their accounts, and you can do a collaborator function. And then you're really able to increase your reach and your awareness that way. So just some things to kind of like start thinking about. If you have ideas, maybe reach out to Natalie or myself, and we'd love to talk with you and brainstorm with you. Yeah.
So this is kind of a challenging thing that I'm having a problem with is that, the publisher company is in Redlands, California. It's not a local company here.
Yeah.
And so, I work remotely, and I have connected with the small bookstores because we're kind of an indie book publisher.
Okay.
So, local small bookstores are pretty much where our books are gonna be and online, obviously. But, you know, I tried to connect with them, I tracked them, followed them, had them follow us, that whole thing. Have had some, you know, campaign, you know, hashtag small bookstores or something
Uh-huh.
like that, kind of tying us kind of together, but it's so hard because I'm not local, it's so hard to get that feedback and then kind of get that reaction or, you know, it's a one-way street, I feel like. Where
Totally.
I'm always overextending and trying to, you know, pay attention to them and they're just like, whatever. Because
Yeah.
I mean, if I was local, I would probably pop in and say,
Totally.
hey, and this is what we do kind of thing, so.
Totally.
Any advice on that, like, it's hard when. I'm far.
Yeah.
I have an idea.
Yeah. No, I was thinking, so.
There's a lot of services online where you can like find influencers in a given area. And what I would potentially look into is, are there book or like literature influencers in that area where those bookstores are who could like serve as an intermediary or as a rep, who could go in and like make that personal connection and kind of, yeah, be that person because you can't be there physically.
Gotcha. So hire somebody to do work, you know.
Yeah, kind of get someone to help with that, or just keep pushing and keep seeing if you can make that connection just using social media. But if you need someone there, I would find someone whose niche is that. Yeah.
One thought that I had was, could you do some type of like virtual meetup or something like that with
Oh my
them?
gosh, we did virtual book launches during COVID.
It was terrible.
It was.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
fun. I mean, I much prefer, you know,
In
in-person
person.
launches. It's a different vibe, it's a different feel. We did try the virtual, we did do that for a while. We do have international authors, so we do that still,
Uh-huh.
but it's so much more difficult. to
Totally.
establish that connection, for sure.
Totally.
But I'll look into, I mean, literature influencers, I'm not sure about that, but there's
Yeah.
somebody who's got a really good profile.
There's
Yeah.
surprisingly a lot. I was just working for an author and I had to find a bunch, and there's yeah, you might be surprised. Yeah.
I know book talk is a thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's but the book publishing world is, I've never seen anything like it, so, okay, I'll look into that, thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe you just need to have your boss give you a ticket down there. Go on a little tour. Pop in. Get a vacation out of it. Yeah, exactly. So one other tool you can use, so if you're in your business insights account, the fourth one down is benchmarking. And so you can see here, if you go over on the top, there's this business comparison, but then you can also click on this businesses to watch, and you can add your quote unquote competitors here, but also Facebook pulls up other accounts that are, so it says compare the performance of your business and content with similar businesses on Facebook. So basically they're pulling other accounts that are similar. So similar to the Downtown Bellingham partnership is Bellingham Experience by Visit Bellingham, Sustainable Connections, Makeshift, Bellingham Regional Chamber of Commerce. So this could potentially help give you some ideas about who could you partner with? How could you potentially come up with an idea to cross promote or collaborate with these other organizations or businesses? And then you can also add your competitors up here. So it's cool because it shows you their page likes and also how much content they're publishing and kind of how you stack up against other people kind of in your space. So that's another helpful tool.
I have a question about that.
Mhm.
Can you just find that out? By just
Yeah.
looking it up?
Mhm. But it's nice that it just has it all in one place.
What is, okay,
You just want to go to the benchmarking tab. It should auto-populate accounts that it identifies as similar to you, based on industry and audience and all that. Yeah, and then you can also add your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great tool. All right, one last big tip is that consistency is key, and we always want to go for quality over quantity. So the easiest way I found to do that is to create a repeatable pattern. I love patterns, I love systems. So what you're gonna want first is a scheduling tool. So we looked at Meta Business Suite, that's an option. There's also a tool called Later. There's Loomly, there's a number of them. The main draw about Meta Business Suite is that it's free. This is a sample content calendar, and this is something that you can create after you have your content pillars developed. So this is why content pillars are really helpful, because once you have the themes, you can lay out in a spreadsheet or on paper, however, what exactly you want to post on each day. And then you can schedule that out. So you can spend like an afternoon at the beginning of the month doing content for an entire month. And then that saves you so much time and energy. So here's an example of the different content types and how they're laid out. And this is something I would really encourage everyone to do. And you don't have to be posting every day, but if you can just get 3 posts up in a week, you're golden. And then in terms of engagement with these posts that you're making, responding to comments, messages, and engaging with followers, a trick I really like is called the $80 method. It's all about creating two-way communication. So if you can set a time each day, each week, or each month, whenever you can, to do this, the $80 method is an outbound commenting strategy to engage with new followers and create interest in your profile. So this happens by leaving your 2 cents in the form of a comment on 9 different posts across 10 different hashtags each day is what this method suggests. That's 90 posts. That's a lot of time. But if you can find relevant hashtags to your business and go and leave comments on them as frequently as possible, I've used this method and the results are pretty instantaneous. The more you can do it, the better. And it's a great habit to get into. So this is the $80 approach.
All right, and so in terms of helpful tools that Brandon and I think that you all should know about if you don't know about them already, these are ones we use every day. Who here uses Canva? Yes, it's the best, right? If you don't use it, you find it. Look it up right now and get it on your computer. There's a free version and a pro version. On the pro version is sweet because you can upload all your brand colors and typography, logos. It saves it all in there. There's a ton of different templates. So we use that all the time. Social schedulers, if you don't use one, they're awesome. You can use just the one on Meta Business Suite. What we use at Brilliant Marketing is called Loomly. It's a paid one. We have content across a lot of different channels, especially LinkedIn. So we needed to find one that incorporated with LinkedIn. So that's what we use. I know Raylan uses Later. There's a bunch of other ones out there like Hootsuite, Sprout Social. So yep, you can do it through Canva too. So I think just when you're thinking about social schedulers, it's just what works for you, how much does it cost, what are the channels that you need. So those are some things to consider. ChatGPT, we use that a lot for research and idea generation initially. One thing to note with that is that the content can be generic. So making sure that you're going in and it's a first draft, it's an outline that you're getting. And then you go in and you put in your tone and your voice, making sure it's authentic to yourself. So, but it does really can save some time, get some of those like creative juices going, which is great. Who here has a link in bio on their Instagram? Nice, a lot of people. Yeah, Linktree. So you can do link in bio, Linktree, flow code. They all do the same thing. If you don't have that, you should definitely have it in there because it's really easy for people visiting your profile to visit your website or your menu or your newsletter, whatever it is.
Which one's better between Linktree and flow code?
We use Linktree. preference on. I think they're all pretty similar.
They are pretty similar. Yeah.
I think it's whatever aesthetically looks best and is easiest for you to do.
Yeah, they have different layouts and theme options, so I would just.
CapCut is a tool I know
Yeah.
Braylon uses a lot, and so it's for video editing. You can edit it and then download it and then upload your videos to your different channels, which is sweet. And then a new tool I just learned about is called Opus AI. So if you're doing a lot of video, like maybe you have a podcast or you're doing some interviews or different things like that, you can upload this video to Opus AI, and then it auto generates 8 to 10 clips with auto captions and different things like that. So there's a free version and then there's also a pro version. Are there any tools that you all use that we should know about? Yeah.
I use something called Scroll.
Scroll?
SCRL. It's really fun because it's like, you can make a collage of pictures and then it just turns it into a video and then
Oh,
makes
cool.
it scroll.
That's awesome. All right.
It doesn't have to be a video, but I put videos in it as well, so it's like
Okay,
collage of pictures and then also video. Like a short video.
cool. Thanks for that.
I use, sometimes I use Edmodo for, it's not video, I mean, it's kind of video editing, but also creating.
Okay.
Sometimes I do video trailers for books or events, and so you can kind of put it all together with music and.
Cool.
What's it called?
Edmodo, and ANIMOTO.
Okay, great. So we're kind of nearing the end of our workshop today. So key takeaways when you leave here. So hopefully you are aligned on your business goals and your social goals. So making sure when you're creating your social strategy, whether it's for the rest of the year or thinking about next year, what are your goals? Creating that customer persona, filling that out. Ensuring you have those 3 to 4 content pillars, which we're going to talk about in October. And that you start developing a system. So hopefully we've given you some tools like looking at your analytics, doing some test and learns, doing the validated learning model that Raylyn talked about. And one thing that we do at Brilliant Marketing is at the end of every month, we look at our analytics and our clients' analytics before we start planning for next month. Which content performed really well? Which posts maybe should we boost? We're going to be talking about paid social media in November, so come back for that one. And so creating a system and even using the content pillars in the scheduler and the outline that Raylyn showed about how you can do that different days. And then looking to collaborate with different partners and businesses. So I encourage you all to connect today, maybe on a collaboration, and then just be consistent with and try something out. But also you don't want to do too much. So we gave you a lot of tips and tricks and information. So even if you just take 1 or 2 of these to try, especially the $1.80 approach. And Raylyn had mentioned that you should try it for 7 days to ensure, or 7 times, and you should really see a lift, a boost with that one. So, yeah, just here's our info. So you can take a picture of it, or we'll share it around in the deck, but reach out to us. We understand and know that marketing and social media is difficult and it's hard. Sometimes it's lonely. You're the only one doing it. We understand that. So reach out to us. We're offering a 30-minute discovery session with people just to talk about your business and your goals. And if you need help, we're here to support you. And then the next one in October is October 3rd from 3 to 4. I'm all about crafting compelling content. And then in November, it's going to be about paid social. So hopefully you'll come back for those ones. So we'll open it up for questions now.
Yeah.
Roughly, like, how long does it take you to like make all of your content for a week?
It kind of depends. So when we work with our clients, we try to be a month ahead. So we're usually trying to create all of our content at one time to be most efficient. And one of our strategies is trying to take like an anchor piece of content, whether it's a podcast or video or something, and then slicing and dicing that up into smaller, shorter form content. But I think if you're thinking about like blocking off time to do that, I think 2 to 3 hours, like block off that chunk to be able to sit down, especially if you're planning out your week, focusing on those different content pillars, and then just get in there, get the ideas out there, get Canva up and start rocking and rolling and find like a flow and a rhythm that works for you. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, you're on Third Planet, right? So like, let's say you wanted to make 3 posts in a week and feature 3 different products, just like snap an iPhone picture of each product, throw it in your scheduler of choice, and then like write up a caption. That would probably be done in under an hour, probably. But that time can like flux depending on how many posts and like the production value of that content. Like if you wanted to make a reel, it would take more than just a photo. So it really does depend, like Emily said, but these like systems that we shared in this presentation are probably they're the only thing that makes me time efficient at making content. So I would definitely recommend just trying to put everything in a system if you can.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone else?
So question, you didn't talk about reels at all. Is that something you guys don't like creating reels as well as?
Yeah.
posts and
Yep,
stories?
we got,
Did we-
let's see, it's okay, I think that was one of the first ones.
So you're talking about reels for TikTok or reels for
Oh.
Instagram?
No, reels for
Both.
Instagram. That's what I was, okay, so you bumped it with TikToks. that's
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But they're great, and you talked about the sweet spot for the length of those is like 5 to 15 seconds, yeah.
And I actually noticed that, I kind of learned that the hard way, by uploading longer than that, and then you
Okay,
can tell
cut out.
when people's attention kind of
Tanks,
drops down,
yeah.
so it's a one thing.
Yeah, there's definitely a formula to making like a captivating reel, and a lot of it you just learn over time.
Yeah.
What about for YouTube, for the video, the shorts?
Yeah, I would use it as cross posting, like anything you're posting on Reels or TikTok, also cross post YouTube Shorts. Yeah. Yeah.
Give any recommendations or any value in the patch, whatever it's called today?
I think it depends where your audience is, and that's probably something to research, because that really affects like how your content does there. If there's people out there you want to talk to, I would say go for it. A lot of my clients don't have like big audiences there, so I don't use it so much. But
Right.
yeah.
Same. I think it's really great if like in media or the news cycle or different things like that, that's when I feel like it's used a lot, or in sports.
Yeah, I would say like if you're a personal brand and you're commenting on like events and that sort of thing, Twitter is probably useful.
What about threads?
I think I have not heard about that many. I haven't heard many thread success stories yet.
Yeah, and that because
So I'm
probably not,
waiting. Yeah,
yeah, I would say if it's not caught on, then probably.
I would say people are pretty comfortable on the platforms where they're at, and aren't looking to necessarily migrate that way. So I would say just like keep doing what you're doing, or go where you already know people are. Yeah.
I think I missed it, the $1.80, what is that boosting?
Yeah, so that's searching for hashtags and finding other people's posts and commenting on those posts. So
what is boosting for yourself?
So that is making you show up on other people's pages and profiles, so they're more likely to interact with you, and their followers are more likely to interact with you. So it's a way to get more comments and followers and overall engagement on your page.
Okay.
Yeah,
Reach new audiences.
yeah, exactly.
Actually, a sort of cover related question, something that we have done just not by planning, but just as anyone who's on our profile, we're also volunteer run to a degree, does this, which is if they find
a post by someone that we're connected to or things that we're interested in, which is primarily art, they will repost it, they'll share it to our feed. And, I have noticed that it seems like it's similar, has a similar effect to the, actually collaborating and like having cross-hosted events or whatever. But is there any drawback to just sharing a post? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you're putting it in your feed.
Yeah,
The only drawbacks I'm aware of are just, if I do that, I usually just ask permission first to make sure like they're cool with the repost, and then, I don't see any drawbacks other than you can also just share it as a story. And
right,
it would probably have a similar effect,
okay.
but that's a great method, because I think generally people like when their things are
Yeah.
amplified.
Yeah.
That's on that.
I think that's great. Any other questions? All right.
Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. We have a sign-in sheet, we have to stay in touch with you all, so if you haven't filled it out yet, you can find it on the table. One last note on connecting with business owners is if you're not familiar with our city block program, come talk to me about it.